is the sky.
Hi, Mummy.
Can you see what Douglas is doing?
I can see Douglas, yes.
we had Charlie went to vet. There's Charlie.
Yeah.
Look. Hello, Charlie. You have a good time. That's good. It's good. He had the first injection, had a microchip.
Right. Good.
And that was very expensive though, Mum. Was £81.
Oh, darling.
Yeah, and we go.
Sometimes.
Guys, I suggest we go to RSPCA next time. Look, he's biting Douglas. Hello, baby.
Hello, Charlie.
Hello,
Hello, Charlie.
Hello, Charlie.
Hello, little boy. You're cute.
He's much bigger. Look, he's much bigger now. He was a little puppy. Now he's becoming like a dog. That's good. That's good. Oh,
Hello, Charlie.
that's very good. That's a good bite of a Mommy.
You have a very pretty face, Charlie.
Yeah, he's a pretty little boy.
Yes.
See our garden, Mommy.
I'm ringing. I'm calling now because Joan isn't on her computer. We thought it might have got worse. Connection must be so bad.
How is the connection now? How is the connection now?
Are you having a nice time making a mud pie?
I'm making a mud pie. You know what Cliff said? Painters are just grown-up children who never got to play enough with their poo.
It looked as though you were painting on a mirror. Were you painting on a mirror?
On a piece of glass. It's just
Yes.
a palette, really, so I can clean it. I'm just cleaning it. But while I'm cleaning it, I'm videoing it.
While you're cleaning it, you're playing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know where ideas are going to come from, you
Are you
see.
coming back very soon, Mommy?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you coming back very soon?
Yes, we're coming back on Saturday.
Coming back to Suffolk on Saturday?
Correct.
Oh, so it's just one day to go. Are you coming?
Absolutely, just one.
Are you coming to visit us? Do you?
I think Tim will be too tired of driving.
On the way, yeah. But shortly after you get home, you'll come, won't you? Or we'll come to you.
I mean, it's not very far.
But we can't really come to you.
Away.
Yeah, we can't really come. Well, you could just pop in just for 5 minutes, just for a kiss on a nose, couldn't you?
I think I've been pushing my luck.
You're not going to promise, yeah.
What?
You're not going to promise anything, okay.
I'm certainly not going to promise anything, no.
Now we understand. Oh no, I've now got paint on the tripod. Very unfortunate. Oil paint gets everywhere, especially when it's in my hands.
I'm not surprised with those bloody great gloves. You can't be very dexterous. Your shed looks extremely fine down at the bottom of the garden.
Thank you.
We ordered some board tomorrow to come.
Yeah, we have actually spent some money on it now. Yesterday we went to Wickes and we got some.
What?
Up until yesterday we hadn't spent a penny, you know. Oh, I mean, obviously in the other sense, we spend pennies, but
So what did you buy?
Some board. Timbers.
Yeah, what are you going to do with them?
We're going to put on the back. Yeah, I'm going to take you to have a look.
yeah, go and have a look.
I don't know whether connection will be fine. Are you still connected?
felt.
Yeah. Yeah. Look over there. Only one cone there, Mommy. Hello, baby. You want to say hello to Granny? Chilies? Yeah, I sent you the chilies photo. Yeah, the chilies, they're really small. They're tiny. Look, they're tiny. But they got one on the top. They're only got, no, they're not very strong. They're very difficult to grow. And they got each plant only got one chili on the top. Yeah, that's kind of tall. This was very strange. And we got some baby. That we got the baby there. Look. Can you see the flower, Mama? No, here is it's a plant. Yes, plant to start flowering. Look, Willen and Charlie there. Willen and Charlie there. There is black cat, Mommy. Two black, one black dog, one black cat. This is a baby plant cat. There's a Willen. Hello, Willen. There is Willen, Mommy. Hello, Willen. She must want to go to her pool now. Hello. Dog, be careful. Charlie's sitting. Charlie's sitting under this face.
Let's follow Charlie. This is the ant's nest. We've reconstructed it. We've had lots of immigrants from all the other flower pots. I hope there's not ant war going on in there. But there's a, you know, a legless lizard. What are they called? Slow worm.
Slow worm.
Really enjoying gobbling them all up. Yeah, we remember we found him living in there, or a little family maybe. We've had the slow worms in the garden for years. We used to have hedgehogs in the garden, but they've gone. We've got a frog, isn't it, darling? You identified.
We got two different kind of frogs. Oh, Mummy.
Well, it's good to talk to you without it all cracking up, isn't it?
Yeah? Yeah, Mummy.
Probably better go now. Tim can get on with the dreaded magazine.
Okay, Mummy, nice to talk to you.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Safe journey home.
Nice to talk to you.
Send our love
It
to
looks like a
Joe.
very nice evening.
Yeah.
It's been a lovely day. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send our love to
Yeah.
Joe. Mummy, send our love to Joe and Tin.
Hello, goodbye.
Bye, Mummy.
Yes. Bye bye, my darling.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, what's the thing with that business? Oh, there it is.
She's gone. She's gone. But Charlie's here. Hello, Charlie. Ah, Charlie fun. Charlie Magoo. Yes. Whoosh.
Okay, I go inside. Could you look after Charlie?
Yeah. Okay. So there we are. I think I've just about got paint on everything now. Somebody asked me what I was a photographer. I'm definitely not a photographer. What kind of artist I am. I think I've always been what they call a fine art, oil painting person. I don't really like this expression fine art, but it distinguishes it from something that's just wholly commercial, and it does allow you to be a little bit difficult, a little bit difficult to access the meaning of what you do. something that everybody's seen before. It's not really very creative, is it? It's what they call derivative. So you could do a lot, I think, with glass. Let's turn it up to the sky. There we are. You could do a lot with a piece of glass like this. I think it's just clean enough now, and I can get some fairy liquid onto it. Darling, can you pass me the fairy liquid, please? Darling, can you pass me the fairy liquid, please? The one in the kitchen by the basin. Fairy liquid? Yeah. Yeah, well, I think no, the other one's better without any water. And a jug of water too, hot water. So once you have used the solvent, then you can, without water, then you can use the fairy liquid, and then you can use the water. I mean, if I had an easel to put this up on, it could be really, really interesting. Do it up in there like this again. Yeah. You're not really getting a lot of contrast there. And of course, this starts to look like the surface of a planet, doesn't it? Yeah. Or even a flying saucer. Yeah. Perfect. This is now studio cloth. Fang has always said that this is a revolting cloth because I've used it to wipe my bottom with in the bathroom. It's now studio cloth. I'm just going to clean some of the bits of oil paint off this tripod. Tripod, of course, came from my father's, Daddy's tripod. And now we can take some what we need is some white paper. Some paper from the printer bin. Couple. This is a technique called. Well, let's take some photographs first. We'll put the paper underneath. Now we can get some ideas. Of course, you could go on like this, couldn't you? Playing around with this. Oops. I've noticed that when you go on with the creative flow, it opens up these infinities, you know, infinite creative possibilities. I think that's a sign, you know, that the intellect has... So what I'm going to do now is lay this on here, and this is called a monoprint. And what I'd like to do this with thick oil paint on a large scale, which would need a large piece of glass, and to be safe, you know, in a frame. And you'd work horizontally and vertically, so you could, you know, you could work when it's vertical, and then if the frame had like a hinge on it, then you could work, and maybe a way of lifting it up and down, and then you could take the monoprint when it's flat, which is going to be a lot easier. Now people might say, so what? You know, what's that? Now this can then be scanned into the computer, and I can do a lot with these ideas. But one of my motivations nowadays is to share it. So because it's frustrating to come up with these infinite ideas that would carry on expanding infinitely when you have only a human life to live. So you can do double prints, or you could let it dry and do another print. You could obviously use different colours, and there's loads of fantastic printing methods that were developed before the age of photography. But now we have photography, particularly digital photography. Things like silk screening, lithographs don't really have much. I mean, they have a sort of retro appeal, like the old film photography does, but they don't really supply an answer to a human need anymore, as such. People might say, well, does art supply the answer to a human need? Not in the sense of, you know, mundane, normal humanity, no, but in terms of the human spirit, absolutely. So my teacher, Cliff Holden, begins his book by talking about his aspirations as a young man when he wanted to grow food for people. So he used to work, he got involved with cooperative farming and something called anarcho-syndicalism, and he helped transport a printer over the mountains in Spain during Franco's time in Spain. Of course, Cliff was too young to actually be involved with the Spanish Civil War like George Orwell, but in reference to Orwell, Cliff always said that Orwell's descriptions of his crazy adventures were just describing things that Cliff himself had done, but done in a much more complete and authentic way. During the war, the Second World War, early 1940s, Cliff was living rough, I think in Scotland, and being chased around by the military police. And then he had his studio in Fulham. I think it was right opposite the other side of the road from the police station, which amused him very much. So the reason why I don't really want to use plastic or Perspex is because I don't think you could clean it quite as easily as this. You see, that's come up really pretty clean. Anyway, clean enough. Clean enough for the next colour, which I think is going to have to be blue because this new painting that I'm working on, which I'm calling a commission, although of course there's no offer of any money or funding involved, which I don't need because I've got all the materials and workspace here. So my good old childhood friend Nick Stocker has commissioned me to do a painting called the Blue Dancers, which the starting point was a photograph he took of a carnival in London. And so that's what I'm going to start doing. That's what I have started doing. And so the next colour that I want to prepare is probably a blue colour. This is Spectrum Blue, manufactured by Spectrum. Is that focusing? It's Spectrum Blue. And so just like I managed to get a lot of the ochre colour from that other tin, I should be able to get quite a lot there. And I'll show you the ochre before we finish. This is the old yogurt tub that I'm going to put the Spectrum Blue into, and this is the ochre paint that I made. I don't know if you can see the